Hi, I'm Sandra from Prompt Trainer. Great to have you here. In this video, I'll show you how to easily find out what kind of learner your child is, and how learning can become much more fun because of it. Because when your child is allowed to learn in the way that works best for them, learning becomes a real superpower experience. Let's dive right in. Every child is unique, especially when it comes to learning. Some children thrive with images, colors, and clear structures. Others remember things better when they hear them, talk about them, or try them out for themselves. The theory of learning styles helps us understand these differences and shows how we can support children in the way that suits them best. There are 4 main learning types. The visual learner understands best through pictures, colors, diagrams, and structured layouts. The auditory learner takes in information through listening, speaking, or music. The kinesthetic learner needs movement, hands-on experience, and activities that engage the senses. And the communicative learner learns best through conversation, through sharing, discussing, and thinking together. But no child is just one type. Most children are a blend, and depending on the topic or situation, they may learn in different ways. That's why it's so important to use different approaches, flexibly and individually. Tools like ChatGPT can help you discover what really supports your child. This makes learning more effective, more child-friendly, and even playful. A quick look at the background. The idea of learning types was made popular in the 1970s by biochemist Frederick Vester. Later, the VARK model was introduced, describing 4 ways of learning: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading/writing. Today, we know that learning types aren't fixed, but the model still offers a helpful guide, especially for parents, teachers, and anyone supporting a child's learning journey. Because one thing is certain, children learn differently, and that's exactly how it should be. What visual learners really need, and how ChatGPT can support them. Visual learners often show certain characteristics in their daily lives. They love books with pictures or comics, and they often enjoy drawing or sketching things to help them remember. They find it easier to remember information when it's colorful, well-structured, or clearly organized. Their way of speaking can also be quite telling. They often use phrases like, "I see," "that looks like," or "I picture it in my mind." They prefer explanations that include diagrams or vivid, concrete examples. They also tend to notice small visual details in their surroundings. Their toys, school supplies, or clothes are often arranged by color or pattern. At the same time, visual learners can be easily distracted by visual clutter or disorder. Many of them enjoy taking notes, often using colors, symbols, or small drawings. Their favorite learning tools are images, videos, or flashcards. Visual learners benefit most from things they can see and organize. Colors, symbols, diagrams, and mind maps help them understand and remember content more easily. Structured learning plans with visual elements also provide great support. Infographics, illustrations, or flashcards with images make learning more engaging. Posters or learning charts on the wall make knowledge more visible and accessible. Comics or image-based stories help them understand concepts and remember them better. Visual puzzles or quizzes add a playful and interactive touch. Learning apps with a clear visual interface make it easier to get started. Presentations with images instead of large text blocks are especially effective. Well-designed learning videos, animations, or explainer clips can spark motivation and create aha moments. Visual learners can easily feel stressed when they lack visual orientation. Long, unstructured texts can overwhelm them. Just listening without visual support makes it hard to process information. Messy learning materials or a chaotic desk create inner restlessness. Overloaded or confusing presentations make it difficult to follow the flow. Missing visual anchors, like images, colors, or symbols, turn learning into a struggle. A dull, monotone environment without visual stimulation can also reduce their focus. Rapid topic changes without a clear visual structure can easily throw them off. A common stress factor is poor readability, such as black text on a dark background. If notes or board visuals aren't available, or there are no summaries, they lose orientation. Too much information at once, without structure, quickly leads to mental overload. And purely verbal explanations, without sketches or visual examples, can feel especially tiring for visual learners. Visual learners benefit from creative methods that include images, colors, and structure. You can create learning posters or mind maps together with your child. This makes the content more visible and easier to understand. When learning vocabulary, stickers, colors, and symbols can help remember words more easily. Let your child draw their own sketches or simple comics related to what they're learning. It's fun and strengthens comprehension. Daily routines or plans can be visualized with pictures or icons. Color-coded flashcards by topic or subject help bring clarity. Learning apps with visual elements can also be supportive, especially if they're playful and interactive. A whiteboard works well for setting daily learning goals or adding motivational messages. The learning space should be bright, friendly, and visually inspiring, with minimal distractions. Regular visual breaks are important, for example, with nature images, mandalas, or calming candlelight. Keeping things tidy is especially helpful. Reducing visual clutter supports focus and concentration. Short videos or explainer animations that visualize complex topics can also be a great support. With ChatGPT, you can create creative and visual learning materials in just seconds. Here are some example questions you can try. Create a colorful mind map for a 9-year-old on the topic of water. Give me a visual mnemonic to help remember the planets. How can I explain the seasons to my child using a drawing? Make a learning poster with symbols on the topic of fractions for 5th grade. Show me a visual overview of key events in ancient Egypt for kids. Create colorful vocabulary flashcards with pictures about farm animals. Give me a simple diagram that explains how a volcano works. How can I create a memory game with images to practice the times tables? Show me an example of a mind map on the topic, environmental protection, for kids aged 10 and up. Create a table with colors and symbols to help learn the 4 German cases. What could a visual learning journal for my child look like? Help me create a comic about photosynthesis. You can enter these questions directly into ChatGPT, and you'll get ideas that you can use right away with your child. If you want to use ChatGPT to create visual learning tools, these 3 tips will help you get the best results. Mention the age or school grade. This helps ChatGPT create age-appropriate content. For example, create a mind map on the topic Middle Ages for a child in 5th grade. Specify the format or type of material you want, such as a mind map, poster, table, comic, flashcards, or drawing. For example, give me a colorful poster that shows the structure of a plant. Be specific about the topic. Instead of just saying math, try simplifying fractions or times tables with 9. For example, create visual mnemonics for adding and subtracting with negative numbers. The clearer your prompt, the more useful the result, and the more fun learning will be. Here are 3 more helpful tips for using ChatGPT to create even better visual learning tools for kids. include colors and symbols. Colors, emojis, and icons help the brain store information more effectively. Example: create a table showing the 4 German cases with colors and fitting emojis. Ask directly for visual output. Formulate your prompt to ask for drawings, diagrams, or graphic explanations. Example: how can I show the water cycle in a child-friendly graphic? Add interactivity and real-life context. Ask for games, craft ideas, or practical tips related to everyday life. This makes learning more engaging. Example: create a visual game with symbols to help learn the days of the week. The more creative and specific your prompt is, the better ChatGPT can support visual learning. I hope this gave you some helpful ideas for you and your child. If you're looking for more inspiration or would like some help creating your own prompts, feel free to check out what PromptRainer has to offer. Have fun exploring, and see you soon.